Let's start with a provocative question. What if the world we've built, the society we live in, isn't actually a continuation of history, but a total break from it? Today we're diving into a really powerful essay called "It Didn't Have to Be This Way" by a writer who goes by the Appalachian Gorilla. And let me tell you, it's a critique that is going to challenge just about everything you might think about the idea of progress.
Right out of the gate, the author hits you with this. No warm-up, no easing you in, just boom. We are not part of Western civilization. It's a statement that's designed to be a shock to the system, to make you stop and ask, wait, what? If we're not that, then what are we?
So, what's the big idea here? Well, the author argues our world wasn't the result of some grand, noble plan. Nope. It's the product of a whole bunch of easy, short-sighted choices. Decisions made for convenience that piece by piece cut us off from our own history and basically cashed in the future to pay for today.
Okay, so let's dig into the first big piece of this argument, this idea that we've consciously divorced ourselves from history. You know, we like to say we're the heirs of people like Plato and Socrates, right? We claim that heritage, but the author's point is, have we actually listened to them? The argument here is that we've completely ignored their warnings. It's like inheriting a beautiful, complex machine, but throwing away the instruction manual because it's too much trouble to read.
To really drive this home, the essay uses this striking image. Imagine you give two different civilizations the exact same piece of technology, drones. One civilization, which the author calls the children of Rome, uses them to create art and beauty. The other, the United States, uses them for warfare. It's a really stark comparison, meant to show a fundamental difference, not just in priorities, but in the very soul of a culture.
And that leads us right into the second major charge. This one takes a hard look at our concept of progress and the incredible price the author says we've paid for it.
This quote really cuts to the chase. The author claims we made a trade. Instead of practicing true statecraft, the difficult long-term art of actually governing a society well, we chose the easier, more profitable path. Just take all the resources you can and dominate the world.
And here are the specific IOUs that got written to the future. It wasn't just about oil and water. It was about creating an illusion of success, an illusion of endless growth and consequence-free living. The author is essentially saying, we made huge bets, and the collateral for those bets was the stability and well-being of generations that weren't even born yet.
So, we've talked about the land and resources. Now let's turn to the social fabric, the community itself. The third part of this essay argues that our communities weren't just neglected, they were actively torn apart for the sake of the economy. Now, this is where the argument gets really personal. The claim is that the things that bind us together, family, local communities, shared culture, were actually seen as obstacles to economic efficiency. To make the numbers go up, the very glue holding society together had to be dissolved.
And the essay lays out exactly how this happened. By creating incentives that rewarded radical individualism, it argues, the family itself was weakened. And at the same time, all those unique local cultures, the little pockets of real organic community, they were paved over and replaced by a single generic consumer culture full of soulless brands. Okay, so after laying out this whole indictment of the present, the author does something really fascinating. We get a series of haunting what-if scenarios, a look at the different paths we could have taken. The first what-if is a big one. It challenges something that almost everyone sees as a net positive, the massive global effort to rebuild after the world wars. But the author asks, was it really the best move? So the alternative path suggested here is one of greater self-sufficiency, of less intervention. The idea is that in our rush to connect and rebuild the entire world, we might have given up the chance to be more independent, to not be constantly dragged into every single global crisis that comes along.
All right, the next what-if looks inward. It's about economics, specifically about organized labor and the way wealth moves through a society.
Now, this is a crucial link the author makes. This isn't just about paychecks. The argument is that a different economic path, one where more wealth flowed to working people, would have had massive social benefits. It would have made it easier for families to form and stay together, strengthening the bedrock of society. And for the final what-if, the essay takes aim directly at the motivations of the people in charge. What if the primary goal wasn't just security and personal comfort for the governing class? And this brings it all together. It's the ultimate contrast the author is trying to draw. An economic zone, well, that's just a marketplace. It's a system for transactions. But a society is something so much deeper,
a community of people connected by shared history, culture, and a sense of purpose that goes way beyond just dollars and cents. So after all this analysis, after all the what-ifs, everything builds to one final, heavy verdict on the path that was chosen.
And there it is. After all that build-up, it boils down to these 4 powerful words. It's a direct accusation. This didn't just happen to us. According to the author, this was a conscious choice.
And that brings us to the title of the essay, and really, its heart. The final tone isn't one of rage, but of deep, profound sadness. It's a lament, a regret for a world the author believes could have been so much more beautiful, a world that was traded away for something that's just efficient.
When you get right down to it, this whole essay is an attack on our modern definition of progress, and it leaves us with a huge question to chew on. If it's not about a bigger economy or cooler technology or more global power, then what is the true measure of a successful civilization? Definitely something to think about.